Welcome to Deep Thought. Sometimes perceptions can lead to inaccurate conclusions. I'm gonna tell you what. Let me share something. This something happened to me when I first started on YouTube, and I had like 200 something subs. But the thing was, I had been out there before, and people had seen like articles. They knew about my books and everything. And some dude and three women decided to come after me. They came after me, and an interesting thing happened. The dude repeated. They said they studied stuff and came together. I was like, what the hell? But the dude said one of the women was taking psychology and stuff, and did this supposed like analysis of me. And say, yes, he appears to have Napoleonic syndrome and everything. And I was just like, Napoleonic syndrome. And all I answered back was, oh, wow, that suggests I'm short-statured, but I didn't know 5'11" was short-statured. And I ain't say it then, but 5'11" barefoot, so with shoes on, I'm perceived as being 6 feet. And I was like, And it wasn't even so much they did that, because a lot of people, that's one thing with me, a lot of people, they'll see me on the video and always take, even people I'm cool with, they always think, oh, I thought you were just 5'8", because they see me in person, and they like, you're taller. It never fails. He even had a girlfriend out of that. She's like, wow, you're taller in person. But I was thinking about the perception there. That was a good lesson, because she had this whole idea about me based on a faulty perception. It was an inaccurate conclusion, you know? Because whatever I have, it wasn't because of that, you know? It was never because of that. Yeah, but I got some stuff. If you said something that was more accurate, I was like, okay. But I'm like, whatever I got, it's not because of that, but that's an inaccurate conclusion, you know? And I was thinking about that because, you know, sometimes when we have a perception of someone, we come to a conclusion about them, but is it an accurate perception? You know, is it accurate? Like, one of the things is, I'll use a personal example. It was a young lady that she had a certain thickness when I saw pictures of her online, but when I met her in person, I was like, damn, you're tiny, you know? And it's like, that's an inaccurate conclusion. See, the thing is, we'll have a perception of someone, and it's our perception, but is it accurate? All it is our perception. And see, here's the issue with that. Our perception is influenced by our biases. It's influenced by our personality. It's influenced by whatever prejudices that we have. Prejudice, prejudge. But is it accurate? Is it the right thing? Because this society is full of it, you know? Like, I mean, like in my book, Starting from Zero. I put, anybody who got it, remember I talked about it, now, it's been a while, I can't remember the character's name. But it was a big old dude, right? And so the main character, Steve, had a perception of him because the dude was just sitting there, just eating some chicken, all that big old dude. But then when he talked to him, he found that this dude was highly intelligent, highly educated, highly intelligent, and actually helped Steve to get on his path, but you got to buy the book. And here's the thing. It was like, well, that's an inaccurate thing. How often do we see someone and say, oh, they must be a thug or something? How often we see somebody with a ton of tattoos and think, oh yeah, they rough and stuff. Like, I knew this dude, and I used to work with him when I was working retail. Now, if you saw him, you would think he was just you might have thought he was just a dangerous individual. But he's one of the nicest people I've ever met. I mean, he had all these tattoos and everything. And I remember one Christmas at the retail place, he dressed up as Santa Claus. We would call him Bad Santa, you know? Thing was, he wasn't wearing some like beard or something. He was wearing his normal 5 o'clock shadow. And, you know, he outside the store smoking a cigarette in the Santa suit. But the kids loved him. But if you saw him otherwise, you wouldn't even think he would even be good with kids. You probably want to keep your kids away from him. But that's an inaccurate conclusion. What's that based on? That's based on our own biases and stuff. How often we do it racially? How often we do that? You know, or we think, okay, somebody's supposed to be this way. Like, okay, like in these YouTube streets in general, how many people have a negative perception of the opposite sex? You know, but it's really based on their own experiences, which I mean, of course, that's all they can go on. But then if their experiences were negative, like, okay, say it's a guy, he's been constantly rejected by women. Oh, all they do is reject him and everything. So you'll see somebody and you'll think, oh, they just gonna reject me because they look like the guy will say they look like the women who rejected him before. But then that's your perception. But that's an inaccurate conclusion. A woman might be extremely receptive. Or with women who've dealt with, maybe even not even a lot of knucklehead men. But they have that perception, oh, men gonna be dogs and all of that. But that's an inaccurate conclusion, maybe dealing with a particular man. You know? Because one of the things, and this is how, because I've done it, and look, I told y'all, I'm gonna say this 1,000 times, probably every show. You know, I'm climbing that mountain too. I've had times where I had a perception of someone and it was inaccurate. But this is how I fought that. This is how I fought that. I search for truth every time, even if it's a truth that goes against my perceptions. So by doing that, I limited the inaccurate conclusions. Like I try to say, okay, what they actually doing? Okay, they look a certain way and they doing this. What they actually doing? You know, like not having a preconceived notion, you know, not having a prejudice, you know, not making an assumption, just being totally open for whatever they present. Okay, so what are they doing right there? What is the truth? You know, because often we have these perceptions and we come to a conclusion about someone we don't know. We don't know anything. We don't see the whole picture of something. And that's very important. Like I strongly suggest, okay, focusing on truth. Try to see the whole picture. Try to see the whole picture. Like I give you an example too. Like say, because there's always stuff, y'all know me for body game and stuff, but I talked about this one dude I knew. If you saw him from the neck up, he had a very roundish face. A very roundish he ain't had those defined cheekbones or anything. But once you got past that, now somebody would see that, their perception would be, oh yeah, he an incel, he's this and that. But then if they see the whole picture, dude was like, pfft. I mean, he could have competed in like a fitness model contest. But you didn't see the whole picture. So you want to focus on truth. You want to try to see the whole picture and you want to be open for whatever's presented. Don't make any assumptions about someone, some situation until you know the whole truth of it. Because an inaccurate conclusion, it could actually get you hurt. I'll use a great example. I've talked about demon lovers a couple weeks ago. The typical demon lover, is very innocent looking. So somebody would perceive them, oh, they're a good person, they're nice, they all of that. That's an inaccurate conclusion. Because you say, your inaccurate conclusion rather is like, oh, they won't hurt me. That's inaccurate. Because even the demon lovers show some signs in their behavior. And instead of just saying, okay, I'm gonna see. Yeah, they look good. I'm gonna see what's up. You know, I'm gonna focus on my perceptions. Try to always look for truth. Focus on the moment. Don't make any assumptions. All right. So anyway, I want y'all to really think about that. Okay, really think about that. So I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.